What's going on, everyone? Real Red Politics here, and welcome back to another video on my channel. I know it's been a while, but today I'm going to be doing a governor's election prediction video in terms of, or how I think each state's going to go in terms of their governor's races. There are a few states, and that's going to kind of determine where and what column I put the states in terms of whether or not I think those polls are actually accurate. We're going to take into account the political environment, and so we're going to get started now. So taking a look at the safe Republican states, we can put the states of Idaho, Wyoming, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and yes, Texas is going to do the safe column. I think I had it in the likely column in another video. I might have had it in the safe column, but I am confident Texas is going to be safe Republican. Arkansas, Iowa. I'm going to put Ohio into the safe column. Tennessee, Alabama, South Carolina, Florida is going into the safe column. Ron DeSantis there is extremely popular, especially over his opponent, and so I think that state's going to be a safe Republican state now. And then we're also kind of looking at everything else here. I think we got everything kind of in the right category that I want to put it in terms of safe Republican. So now we're going to go to the safe Democrat. Those are going to be states of California, Colorado, Illinois, and we're probably Maine. That's Maryland, but Maryland's going to be a safe blue as well, or safe Democrat. We're going to put New Hampshire and Massachusetts in the safe Democrat category as well. Now we're going to move on to the tilt, lean, and likely Republican. And there's a few states I do want to talk about, and it'll kind of make sense as to why I put these states where I put them. So Arizona is going to be a likely Republican state, in my opinion. Is it going to be a safe Republican state? I'm not 100% confident that it will. I am more confident it'll be likely than it will be safe in terms of safe Republican or whatnot. But if we kind of take a look at polling right here from 538, we see Lake is up over a point, and I think that in terms of the popularity of Kari Lake, she's actually higher in the polling, or I guess is more likely to win than I think what pollsters are saying. So I think Kari Lake is up more than 1 point, especially with her, she has a very strong base behind her. Her opponent's refusing to debate her. And we can look at some of these polls too. Some polls have Lake up even 3 points. And so taking into account everything, the political environment, everything, I'm going to put Arizona into the likely Republican category. We're also going to put the state of Alaska into the likely red, or the likely Republican category. I don't know that it'll really go safe. It might go safe Republican, but I'm going to put that as likely. And we're also going to put the state of Georgia into the safe Republican category. We can take a look here. We can go to the state of Georgia, and we can kind of see how Governor Kemp is doing. And Kemp is a lot more popular than Stacey Abrams, and I think with him being an incumbent governor, it helps him. And some polls have him up 7 points. Some poll has him up 10 points. Some are hovering right around 10 points at like 9-ish. And so I think with that in mind, Georgia's going into the likely column. I don't think it'll be safe Republican, but I think it'll be a likely Republican state. And so when it comes to what we're looking at as the kind of tilt to lean categories, there are a couple states I do want to talk about. Wisconsin, I'm going to put into the lean category because Michaels is performing extremely well in that state. And we can kind of look at polling here in Wisconsin. 538 has Evers up. However, with a red wave year, with Michaels being pretty popular in the state, and with Ron Johnson being an incumbent senator, I think it'll help pull Michaels over the finish line. I don't think it's going to be a likely win in terms of I don't think it's going to go into the likely column, but I think it's going to be more than the tilt column. Wisconsin into the lean Republican category, and I'm also going to put Michigan into the lean. Actually, I'm going to put Michigan into the tilt category because it's more likely Wisconsin's going to go Republican than Michigan is. However, if we want to look at Michigan over here real quick, we can see that Tudor Dixon has been making tremendous strides in the state. If we look way back in June, 538 had Tudor Dixon down by over 30. As the months went on to July all the way to November, Tudor Dixon has been gaining. And with the current trend, if the trend continues to follow by the midterms, we take into account, again, the political environment and it being a red wave year, Tudor Dixon may actually win the state. Why Governor Whitmer is as popular as she is, I don't know. But Tudor Dixon, again, has been gaining a lot. And a lot of these polls, like SSRS has Whitmer up 14 points. I don't think that's accurate. But if we kind of take a look at Trafalgar has it as a pretty much a complete tie right now. And again, the trend before was that Whitmer was up, 30 plus points. Now the margin has been getting narrower and narrower and narrower. So I think Michigan's going to be a tilt Republican state. Now I want to take a look at the state of Minnesota. Minnesota is one of those states where it's not likely to go Republican this year, but I think in the next couple election cycles for governor's races, I think it is somewhat likely we could see a Republican governor. And so a couple of these polls, like this poll has Jensen up by 1 point. 538 has Jensen down by pretty much 8 points. So if we're kind of taking this into account, I'm going to probably put Minnesota into I'm going to put it into the lean blue column. I don't know that it'll be likely, but I think the margin will be a lot narrower than it has been in the past. And now I want to take a look at Nevada. Nevada is one of those states where a red Nevada or a Republican Nevada is very likely. Joe Lombardo has been performing better than Steve Sisolak. And again, red wave year, we have all of that taking into consideration. I think Lombardo could easily win the state by 3 or 4 points. 538 has Lombardo up by about 1.6. You can look at some of these other pollsters. Insider Advantage has Lombardo up 6 points. Suffolk University has Lombardo up by 1 point. SSRS has Lombardo up by 2 points. So I think kind of taking a look at these numbers, I'm going to put Nevada into the lean Republican state. It's not quite likely, but I think it's more than tilt. And there's another state I want to talk about, but I'm going to talk about Oregon actually at the end of this video, and I'm going to talk about New York at the end of this video. Now I want to take a look at New Mexico. New Mexico is another one that if it doesn't go Republican this year, I think it very well may go Republican in the next governor's election cycle. Ron Chetty has been slowly gaining in terms of his popularity, in terms of his polling. And let's kind of look at Trafalgar. Trafalgar has Ron Chetty winning by a point. Now, a lot of these other pollsters like Survey USA have Grisham up, 16 points, 8 points, 12 points. I think the margin's going to be a lot closer than that, and I think there's a lot of undecided voters as well in the state that aren't being taken into account. And I think when you take into the, kind of like the border, and I think the border is a pretty popular issue, especially considering that New Mexico is a border state, and it's Texas's neighbor. And I think taking all that into account and how strong borders is something that these states really want to see. They want strong borders. And so when we're taking all that into account, do I think Ron Chetty is going to win? If he is going to win, it's going to be by maybe 1 to 3 points. Now, does that mean I think he's going to win? I'm not sure. I think it's possible, and if he doesn't win this election cycle, I think whoever is the nominee in the next governor's election cycle or the one after that may very well be able to flip New Mexico into the Republican column. But when we're taking, there's only one that has Ron Chetty up, that's Trafalgar. So if I'm going to put this state into a category, because Trafalgar is the most recent poll, it has the largest sample size, and it's like they said, the most recent, I'm going to put this state into the tilt red column. And now I want to kind of take a look at the state of Pennsylvania. And I think Pennsylvania, in terms of their governor race, it's I did not mean to click Puerto Rico. Pennsylvania, we have 2 governor candidates, Josh Shapiro and Doug Mastriano. Doug Mastriano currently has Trump's endorsement. Shapiro is an unpopular candidate. And I think with the red wave year and with Oz performing better than his opponent in the Senate race, I think Mastriano has a very good chance at winning the governor's race. Now, almost all of these polls, I think actually all of these polls have Mastriano down. However, I think these polls are wrong, and I think there's a lot of undecided voters that are not being taken into account. And like I said, with Oz being as strong of a candidate as he's been in Pennsylvania and being able to really turn out a base, I think Oz is going to help pull Mastriano over the finish line. So I'm putting Pennsylvania into the tilt red column. And when it comes to Vermont, Rhode Island, and Connecticut, these states are all going to go blue, or are going to go Democrat. Vermont is a likely. Rhode Island is a safe Democrat. Connecticut isn't going to be super close. It's going to be closer than it probably has been. But that's also going to be a safe. I'm not going to put that into the safe blue category. I don't know why I didn't earlier. So there's 2 states left to talk about, and these are the 2 states I want to talk about most. We're going to start with the state of New York. New York race. Do I think it's going to go into... Do I think Lee Zeldin's going to win the state? It's more possible this year than it would have been in the last election cycle. Excuse me. I think it is very possible that if a Republican is going to win the state in the governor's race, it is going to be this year. Lee Zeldin has been campaigning really hard. He's been very solid on the issues. He's been solid on the issues that New Yorkers care about, especially with this high of a crime rate that New York has. And with Kathy Hochul being a very unpopular candidate and a weak candidate, and with Lee Zeldin being a pretty strong Republican candidate for a state like New York, and with coefficient having Zeldin up by a point, I think it's possible. Now, right now, do I think Lee Zeldin's going to win the state? I want to say yes, but I think as of right now, Kathy Hochul is going to win between 1 and 3 points. I don't think she's going to win by any more. Now, if Lee Zeldin does win the state, that's possible. And I won't be surprised if Lee Zeldin wins the state. But now there's one state that I want to talk about that's left, and that is the state of Oregon. Oregon is getting a Republican governor this year, I think. I think when you're taking into account the polling of these candidates, Drazen being actually fairly popular in Oregon, and hitting all the issues that are very important to Oregonians, like, the homelessness crisis that Oregon has, the high crime that Oregon has, all this kind of stuff. And with Drazan being a strong candidate on these issues, I think it is very popular that, or it is very likely that Drazan is going to win. Now, 538 has Drazan up 0.6 points. And I think another thing it has to do with is the independent candidate is taking votes away from the Democrat, because a lot of people tend to want a kind of in-between candidate. Now, Betsy Johnson is more Democrat than Republican. And so, but I think with her having as much support as she does have, I think it's helping Drazan. But I believe there was a poll that even on a head-to-head competition, Drazan was up like over 4 points. And so, with that in mind, and kind of taking into account, that Drazan is a fairly popular candidate, and she, in all of these polls, in almost all of these polls, she has been polling well above what people had expected her at the beginning of the election cycle to almost the midterms. I'm going to put Oregon into the tilt red column. I think I had in my last election cycle, I had Oregon in the tilt red column as well. That's a prediction I'm not going to change. I think Oregon's going to go tilt red. I think Pennsylvania's going to go tilt red. I think Michigan's going to go Republican. I think even New Mexico may go Republican. New York, I won't be surprised if it goes to Lee Zeldin. And I want the state of New York to go to Lee Zeldin. But I also won't be surprised if Kathy Hochul does end up winning. So there you have it. That is the October/November 2022 governor midterm election map that I have here today. Real quick, guys, I know I said Vermont was going to the safe, or was going likely Democrat, but I'm putting it into the safe Republican column. I almost forgot Hawaii is going to be safe Democrat as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below, what you agree with, what you disagree with, and what you would change, if you could change anything at all. And stay tuned for more political content coming your guys' way.